Senator Schiff, thank you so much for joining us. And I want to pick up with that in terms of we're a week out from this deadline to fund the government. A short time ago, Speaker Mike Johnson said that he hopes to release text either today or tomorrow to extend government funding, likely through the end of the fiscal year. Is that something that you can support?
I don't want to see a continuation of this slow death, the firings, the ignoring of Congress, the ignoring of our budgetary decisions. So no, that's not what I want to see. Now they're running the show, so they'll have the say. They control the White House, the House, and the Senate. Elon Musk is talking favorably about shutting down the government, which I think would be a disaster. But Trump supported a shutdown his first time as president, so we'll have to see. But I don't want to see this kind of death by 1,000 cuts that we're witnessing now.
But ultimately, here on the Senate side, I mean, you're going to need some Democratic votes in order to pass government funding. I mean, where do you come down on this? Do you believe the government should shut down? The Democrats should use this as an opportunity to leverage some of the concerns you have?
If it shut down, it will be because they want it shut down. They're controlling everything. But yes, they should negotiate with Democrats. They should negotiate with us to both make sure we keep government open, but also that make sure the administration stops violating the law. Our most important power is our ability to control the purse. They're ignoring that. They're laying off tens of thousands of people. They just revealed they're going to lay off 80,000 people at the VA. That's unlawful. That's not authorized by Congress. So we don't want to give them a long-term permission slip to continue these illegal actions. So I want some accountability, and I hope that's what we're negotiating for. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with the majority, and they're in the majority.
And speaking of the majority, as you know, Elon Musk was up here talking to congressional Republicans. Many of them coming out of that meeting are talking about codifying some of these Doge cuts into law. What do you make of that?
Well, we'll see if they actually want to put this to a vote. Are they going to want their members to vote to cut 80,000 people out of the VA, a lot of whom are veterans and providing service to veterans? They apparently want to make cuts to Social Security now. Are they going to vote to cut Social Security? They're proposing massive cuts to Medicaid. I'd like to see them go on the record and have to defend those cuts. Better that they bring it to a vote than they hide behind Elon Musk and his 20-somethings. So I'll be surprised if they really want to bring this to a vote. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to vote on something to keep the government open. That's their responsibility as the governing party. We have enough chaos already with the tariffs that are on and then the tariffs that are off, which frankly just makes the president look weak and undecided and chaotic and just wreaks havoc on the economy.
I want to turn to foreign policy for a second. In Ukraine, as you know, the Trump administration just announced a pause in intelligence sharing with Ukraine. I know you have called that reckless. At the same time, the administration has said this is just temporary. I mean, do you see this as a negotiating tactic?
No, I see this as really a shakedown of Ukraine for their mineral rights, which is something that all Americans should be appalled by. We should be standing up to the Kremlin. We should be defending our Ukrainian and NATO allies. And instead, we are alienating our allies. We are betraying Ukraine. Trump is coming across as a weak sycophant of Vladimir Putin. This is antithetical to our national security interests, to our history, to our legacy of supporting democracies. It is a mistake of historic proportions, and it's going to mean that our allies around the world believe they can't trust the United States anymore, that we'll align with dictatorships, or we'll just go where their money is and we'll try to shake our allies down if we feel we have leverage. That's not who we are, and it's a shameful chapter of our history.
And then lastly, I just want to ask you, obviously, we're on the tail end of the president's joint address earlier this week. I know that you were there and in attendance. I know Democrats have gotten some criticism for how they responded to that address. We, of course, saw the ejection of Congressman Al Green. You know, what was going through your mind in that moment in terms of being in the chamber? And do you think Democrats responded in the right way?
What was going through my mind is for a whole hour and 40 minutes as President Trump talked, he said nothing that would really matter to average families that are trying to get by. He had no plans to reduce costs. In fact, costs have been going up. He had nothing to offer Americans unless you are fabulously rich. He had a tax cut for billionaires and large corporations. So I kept waiting for a whole hour and 40 minutes for something to meet his campaign promises, but found nothing. And I don't want to take the attention off that.
But what is the path forward for Democrats in terms of your strategy?
Well, to continue pointing out that they are failing to deliver for the American people. What I'm fighting for is to make sure that families can afford a place to live. And I'm working on bringing down the cost of housing and bringing down the cost of childcare. They could care less. Right now, they're all about slashing jobs, firing veterans, firing firefighters, and for what? To raise the money for a tax cut for large corporations and wealthy people who don't need it. That's what they're about. That's what I'm keeping my focus on. And watching that State of the Union, it was a lengthy address about nothing that really will meet the needs of ordinary people.
Well, Senator Adam Schiff, we thank you so much for your time and for joining us. Chanel will send it back to you.